This election season, the Kayla Evans Show on Bowie TV brings you up close and personal with Prince George's County executive candidates. It's more than politics, we're diving into their stories, passions, and visions for our community. Tune in daily on Bowie TV local channels and YouTube, and on the Kayla Evans Show YouTube channel. The special election is March 4th. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Kayla Evans Show. This platform is uniquely designed to educate and empower individuals of all walks of life as we converse with experts of various industries. These intellectual conversations are designed to inspire and uplift members of our culture and society, collectively gaining knowledge and information dedicated to our human experience. Let's get into it. As a part of our Prince George's County Executive Candidate Forum, today I'm excited to sit down with Marcellus Crews, a seasoned entrepreneur, innovator, and proud Upper Marlboro resident for over 38 years. As the managing director of Cruising Technologies, which he founded in 2009, Marcellus brings a tech-savvy, forward-thinking approach to his campaign for county executive. His vision? To transform Prince George's into a hub of innovation, economic growth, and educational excellence, drawing inspiration from tech powerhouses like Silicon Valley. With a commitment to putting Prince George's County first, he's here to share how he plans to revitalize our community, empower local businesses, and foster the next generation of leaders. Mr. Crews, again, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you for having me.
So I gave your background formally, but why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself on a personal level so folks can get to know who you really are?
All right. I always say this because that what I'm about to say is the starting point.
Okay.
Up until grade 4, I was a D and F student. I was an awkward kid. I did not know how to make friends. Kids picked on me. And so my parents were concerned. So my mom went to my 4th grade teacher, and that teacher poured into me. Mm-hmm. She made me learn Martin Luther King's speeches and put me in plays. And that just changed my life. And I became an A student in the 4th grade.
Wow.
And with that being the transformative moment in my life, I've been just giving back to young people ever since. You know, I've taken young people all over the world, building homes, churches, and schools. Here in the States, we've helped raise $6.6 million for the homeless veterans. We've done bone marrow drives where we found 2 matches in the Black community. And we also do a lot of, health fairs, free screenings. And so I'm all about giving back.
That's fantastic. I want to know a little bit more about your heritage and your connection to Prince George's County itself as a resident and how that impacts or influenced you to run for this particular position.
Good question. So actually, I grew up in elementary down in the South.
Okay.
My mom wanted me to attend a co-ed the only co-ed, predominantly Black boarding academy in Pennsylvania. I didn't want to go, but I went. Okay. One home leave, I came home with my roommate who lived here in Maryland. And from there, I was hooked. I fell in love with Prince George's County. It was like a bigger Atlanta.
Okay.
And that's how I saw it. And surprising enough to me, my parents decided to move here, which was great because they could be closer to me. So that was the beginning of my love affair with the county. Back then, we were known as the #1 county in the country, when it came to people of color. And so it just it was like a badge of honor to be here. And when I would bring my friends, they would come and visit, I would drive them around and show them, this is Look at this area. Don't think that this is, not people of color. These are
Right.
people of color doing well.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh, and so that would be kind of where my mindset was back then. And just since then, I've just noticed that we have been in decline, you know, and I can't sit back and just watch us go in decline anymore.
That's right. That's right. You decided to do something, and hence why we're here today.
Exactly. We're always complaining, you know, is this all the candidates that we have? Well, I decided to raise my hand and say, I'm going to come on board and I'm going to show I'm not crazy. I'm
Mhm.
level headed.
Right.
No, I have not served in government, but that's the whole point. It's time for us to do something different because we've been hiring people who've been serving. And quite frankly, you've seen their work before they got into another job. So why are you going to hire them for another job and you already know they're not going to bring the change that you're desiring?
That's a good point. And we need that innovative type of change. And one thing that piqued my interest in understanding more about your background is your affinity for technology.
Yes.
That's near and dear to my heart. I'm a cybersecurity SME, and that's my wheelhouse is all in federal compliance and what's happening on the tech side of the house. So, as the founder of Cruising Technologies, how do you envision innovation and leveraging your tech experience to streamline what's happening in the county,
Mm.
making government services or just government more efficient and accessible overall?
That's a really good question. So my company, we do all technology. So from building networks and servers,
Mhm.
and help desks for embassies and small businesses, to audio visual. We're known for our conference rooms. We help the state in some of their conference rooms, as well as home theaters. That's one of our favorites. You can just talk to our home theaters. Smart products. We're just in all technology. I believe that it is time that we innovate and modernize. We can bring efficiency to government, and we can start getting back to people who have requests. You
Okay.
know, in our debates or forums, DPI keeps coming up. You know, one person said, I want to just dismantle it, and then somebody else said, well, we need to look at it from top to bottom. My thing is, let's just modernize it. I mean, it's just that simple. If we modernize it, we bring technology to it. I believe that we can quickly get there. And so, what's cool about me is this is what I've been doing. I don't have to study it. You know, I don't have to write an executive order and say everybody study and let's make sure we're using it effectively. No, I can pretty much sit down with each department and go over how we're going to implement it. And implement it, we will, and we will become more efficient.
Okay. So when you say we're going to implement, we're going to make things more efficient and understanding that technology costs money, right?
Hmm.
What does that particularly look like? Where would those dollars come from as we're innovating tech within government efficiency?
That's a good question. Now, I'm gonna come from a business background to
Okay.
answer that question because I can't really come from a government, only because I don't like how government functions.
Okay.
Um, in business, and I would say in government, you have to go in the red sometimes to make money and get where you need to be. I plan to bring in millions of dollars in other sectors to pay for what I'm talking about. But initially, we're going to have to spend some money to bring that efficiency. You can't, when you're between a rock and a hard place, you got to do something. And efficiency is more important than screaming, we don't have any money. So I believe that I have enough relationships where I can bring these things to bear at a better cost than others. That's number one. And then number two, I have some other ideas of things that I'm doing currently that the government can make a lot of money off of. that will help get us out of this deficit.
Oh, tell us some of those ideas.
Oh, you want me to go into them?
Yeah, come on. That's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to do. The people need to know how to vote. So tell us what
Okay.
the plans are.
All right. I'm being honest. I've been kind of, because everybody starts stealing everybody's idea. I don't know if you've been to the forums, but that's what happens. You say one thing and then that next thing they're off saying it. Right now, let's just start with some of the big tickets. Mm-hmm. We have projects that we've started and then we've stopped. And in a way, I'm glad we stopped them because we build incorrectly here in Prince George's County. We don't have a good, healthy dose of urban and suburban living. And when I say urban living, I'm talking about where you're in your condo and you can come down in your flops and go to the coffee shop.
Okay.
Why is that important? I want to explain that to the audience. Because if we build that way, a lot of our businesses would fill, those retail shops. And if they're filling those retail shops and they already have a clientele, guess what? Taxes. We're making more money. That's how it's done. Look at around the Nat Stadium, that hustle and bustle. Mm-hmm. That hustle and bustle is taking place whether there's a game or not.
That's true.
And so we have to build that way. When you look at the Commander Stadium, what's around it?
Nothing.
But a lot of our leaders say, oh, no, there's Woodmore, up the street, there's Largo. And I'm like, that is not building efficient or smart. We have the largest registered small businesses of any county. And our businesses are ready to go to work. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, I was talking to the education, the teachers union today, and I was telling them, because a lot of what I would like to do is probably going to, not probably, it's going to cost money. Mm-hmm. But I can bring a lot of private money to co-venture with the government and get a lot of stuff done. I want to bring small businesses to K through 12, like we do for sports.
Okay.
And I want to change the paradigm of how our kids look for a job. I don't want them to have to look for a job anymore. I want businesses looking for them.
Okay. That's huge.
Yeah. And we can do that. By the time they get in 9th or 10th grade, they already have several certifications. They already have experience, and they're already a professional. Because once you get a certification, you're a professional. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. Right. So I just want to transform that, but I can bring money to that, through our businesses who would want to partner with us. So does that kind of answer some of your questions?
It does. Okay. We're going a little bit deeper in some of these interviews because I'm a resident here in Prince George's County, and I'm a voter. And I was telling one of our techs here at Bowie TV that it's important to me to understand who I'm voting for and ask the questions that I think a lot of my peers would want to know that we don't typically see, right? We've been seeing a lot of the same individuals in these positions. Yes. One of the issues that I've had is having trust in my local government. So understanding that you're a resident, you've been here, you've seen the changes, you've seen what needs to be done, being in the forefront and being out in the community and actually impacting the change that people talk about. We want to see them walk the walk. So what would that look like from you? How would you build that trust with voters and constituents like myself here in Prince George's County?
Well, I think that when choosing a leader, you have to look at their character. I'm a people person. I love meeting people and getting to know people and building that type of trust. Just look at who's a candidate and see how comfortable they are with meeting you. There's some candidates right now, I'm like, they're uncomfortable with sitting around us. And so my point here is, I know that I have not been in the public sector, but in the private sector, most people will tell you Marcellus Crews He's very charismatic. I love sitting down with people and talking policy. I'm not that candidate who's going to be pulled away because somebody wants to ask me a serious question. That's not me. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to chat with them. I grew up doing Bill Clinton's run, and I saw how he spent time with voters. Mm-hmm. And so that's just my MO. I want to chat with people. Why? Because how can I make something better if I'm not talking to the people?
That's right. That's right.
So my commitment is, one, you're going to have somebody who's going to be inspirational, to inspire our kids, to inspire government, to inspire a new vision here in Prince George's County. Two, we're going to rebrand. Okay. It's time. It's time to rebrand. We're no longer going to be the dumping ground and the crime county. We're going to rebrand, and I'm not going to take any mess from news agencies. We're gonna clean this stuff up. And then third, I'm gonna be accountable. I think it's important that we have somebody who's accountable. We have those tough town hall meetings. As a businessman, I've had to have tough meetings, right? So I'm used to it. I have thick skin. I'm ready to fight for us.
That's right. That's right. And as you've been here for some time, right? Mm-hmm. And you've understood kind of what your community looks like, specifically stemming from Upper Marlboro, what is one or a few specific issues in your immediate community and here in the county that you feel like has been perhaps overlooked by previous administrations that you want to tackle as you enter that particular seat?
Services. Okay. I put a video out about the snow, and that thing almost got 80,000 views just here in Prince George's County. Mm-hmm. Almost 80,000 views. Services. And then again, how we are building. This is insane. We're building community after community with gas stations in between, and I'm not going to start saying names right now.
Okay.
Because it's not their fault. It's who's doing these deals. I just feel like we have not done a good job for our citizenry at all. We have large communities, and then we've got a Royal Farms. I'll go ahead and say it because everybody knows it. We got a Royal Farms at the end of the block. I guess that's our grocery.
We have several. It's okay. These are facts. It's okay.
Right. I guess that's our grocery store. We don't have a lot of fine dining here. We don't have the type of retail stores that I would like to see. And here's the cool thing about me. Being a businessman, I am in those circles.
Right.
Matter of fact, my company did work for the company that builds the Whole Foods.
Wow.
And they said to me, you get in, let's sit down and let's talk because we believe in you. I can bring a lot of those companies back here, and I can bring down crime.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Okay, let's go.
Let's talk about that.
All right, this is where I'm going to start because I want everybody to understand where I'm coming from.
Okay.
75% of all inmates dropped out of school. That's a fact. 75% across the U.S. In the state of Maryland, it's actually higher than 75%. Okay? What does that tell you? That tells you when our kids drop out of school, they end up, 60% of them end up in prison. Now, last year, we had over 9% to drop out. The year before that was 8.5%. We're going in the wrong direction. Now, how do you keep a kid in school? How do you, spur some growth there where they realize their trajectory can be different? Well, it's what I'm talking about. We need a second pathway in our education system. Not everybody's going to go to college. And they want to connect the dots between what they like to do and what they can do.
Okay.
And so when you introduce entrepreneurship as that second pathway with certifications and apprenticeships, we have noticed kids stay in school.
Mhm.
There's a organization called build.org I've partnered with, and they've been doing this for the last 25 years. Their graduation rate is at 96%.
Wow. Wow.
Okay. Our current graduation rate is 76%. Okay, that's a C.
Right.
My thing is our kids learn differently. And when you I've been doing this now for a while. So nobody has to tell me. My company's, we're in schools. So that's the unique thing about me. My company is in so many sectors that we need to change. And I've paid attention, and I'm intentional about everything that I do, that I become an expert. I can speak with the best. I just told you I spoke with the teachers union today. I know what I'm talking about. So my point here is a second pathway in our education system will stem the tide of dropouts, and that will bring down crime. My mission is to help people to find their purpose. When you find your purpose, it strengthens our community. And that's how we get this done.
Now, understanding the existing programs within Prince George's County School that exist for that right, to put students in a position to form a trade or to go in some type of other career pathway outside of the traditional college track. How will you work with the system, the Prince George's County public school system, in bringing these new programs or these new innovative ideas to facilitate what's already happening?
Good question. The county executive appoints the superintendent.
Right.
And my goal is going to say, not special schools, not one-offs. We're going to implement in all of our schools. Southern County, we're going to me, we can make the biggest gains in Southern County.
Okay.
It is time for us to have that second pathway in all of our schools, not some of our schools. And I want to change the name to Prepare Professional. I don't want it to be called trade. I don't want it to be called vocational school. It's Prepare Professional. Why? Because a prepared professional can be someone who, I don't know, you get your license to be a nurse assistant. You can become a veterinarian technician. You can become a dental hygienist, and you can get your cybersecurity. When I talk about certifications, I mean across the board. And I mean from hair to, whatever. The point here is it is time for us to become number one. Right now, we're number 23 in education, and there's only 24 counties.
Mm-hmm.
So people are leaving our county because our school system to them is not up to par. So we've got to turn this around immediately. And I believe that if we announce day one when I'm in, we have a second pathway called a Prepare Professional. And now businesses will come looking at our kids and giving them the experience that they need. All of a sudden, our education system will start looking good.
Okay. So we've talked about the students. We've talked about them being prepared professionals as they move into adulthood. Let's talk about the residents who are already in the workforce.
Yes.
So many of them, or many of us, I should say, some of us have tech backgrounds, some of us don't. Or some of us have formal and higher education, some of us don't. So understanding the full spectrum of what your constituency would look like, what concrete steps would you take within this role to upskill the current workforce and ensure that they're still a valued part of what this economic transformation would look like?
I love that. I love that question because right here in Prince George's County, we have all the ingredients to have a booming economy. We have quantum computing.
Mhm.
We have bioscience right here. We have the Air Force Base.
Mhm.
We have NASA. um, you
Mhm.
know, and well, I won't bring that up. My point here is it is time for us to use certification education. It is to me a big behemoth of an education system that we can retool a lot of our current adults who want to get out of that dead end job and into another job for upward mobility. And we can do that. We can get people into these programs. Now, I want to do it differently.
Okay.
I'm going to give you an example. There was a young lady that came to me and she said, I've been helping the elderly for years now. And I want to now go get my nurse's assistant certification.
Okay.
So she went to the local community college and they said, oh, you're going to have to take these tests and this before you can get into that program. So she was demoralized. She was like, okay. So she comes back to me and I said, okay, I'm so sorry. Call this company. They give a boot camp for getting that certification. And so she was able to go to a boot camp and
Mhm.
she got her certification within a couple weeks. Why? Because she has been doing this stuff already. Let the certification weed people out. Why are we saying in the college career readiness standard
Mhm.
that you got to take all these tests before you can go do this or that? Well, my belief is in the prepared professional standard, you let the certification weed the people out.
Okay. So what about folks who may already be in the workforce who don't have access to a particular certification? We're talking right now, right?
Hmm.
There's scary changes happening. People are losing their jobs literally left and right. They have the certs, they have the degrees, they put the work in. They climbed up the ladder. Tomorrow they don't have a job. What about those people? How will we take care of those constituents who may not have the luxury of going to a boot camp or going through a formal certification program to sustain themselves and their families?
That's a really good question. We're going to have to get creative. I have a program called the Wisdom Program
Okay.
where we take a lot of veterans. We even take seniors and people who are, gifted and known for what they do. And we put them on boards. We help, bring them as mentors and they help companies grow. I think what we've been missing, a lot of companies, I know my company has it. You got to have some smart people around you. I was told by a mentor years ago. He said, if you want money, you're going to have to surround yourself with money, people who know how to get the money.
Right.
You can't be with people who don't know how to get money and y'all, oh, we're going to go do it. We're going to get it. And so my thing is we're going to have to ramp up as we're seeing what's happening at the federal level.
Mhm.
I do think that this is a good thing in disguise because we can bring all that talent back here and hire them to do the work that we need done right here in the county. It's time for growth. We're not going to get anywhere without growth. And so my thing is to think differently and
Okay.
figure out how to bring a lot of that talent into helping us pipeline because that's the key here. Connecting dots and pipelining non small businesses along with nonprofits, along with activists in a lot of industries that need to come together out of their silos and let's grow. There's a lot more jobs that are not being filled here. Is my point.
Mhm. I hear
And
that. I
yeah.
hear that. And I agree with you. I think, especially in the nonprofit sector, I have my own nonprofit. There's so many different industries that are represented right here in the county, even here in the city of Bowie, right? And a lot of those, the ecosystem, I think, can be brought together more to where it benefits the collective. We just need strong leadership who sees that as a vision and who has the power and who has the education and the background to be able to pool all those resources together. So I do understand you in that particular right, sir. I
You
want to,
elect me, and you will see me pulling people out of their silos. We're
uh-huh.
going to do this together.
That's right. That's right. It's about the community as a
Mhm.
collective. I want to talk a little bit more about seniors.
Okay.
Specifically here in the city of Bowie, we have a huge senior community. A lot of folks are a little bit nervous.
Mhm.
They want to hear, how are the seniors going to be taken care of by their elected official? What would you say to that particular demographic tonight?
I would say that it is important that we honor our seniors. It's important that we are able to give them truly affordable housing.
Hmm.
I said it in a forum, I think last night, that I actually have blueprints. My company actually have blueprints for $120,000 homes. Now that's actually affordable housing.
Hmm.
And communities that we want to build that have solar and hydro energy,
Okay.
where seniors are not paying any money for energy, and the cost of the house is very low, to the point where in some cases it doesn't cost them anything. Why? Because the county will be making money off of the energy that we are generating.
Wow.
Uh, because so the concept is, opposed to having a bunch of solar farms off and taking up a lot of land,
Yeah.
we'll do that with communities that we build. So veteran communities, senior citizen communities, just a lot of different communities that we can build and actually be affordable housing.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so that's what I would like to do. Now, there's a debate that is raging right now. We have a lot of abandoned buildings here in the county. And some people would like to see those transformed as well, for seniors. Um, I'm not against that. I'm open to all ideas, but I do know that once we bring on the market true affordable housing, it will kind of keep stuff from getting crazy, because
Okay.
these prices are becoming extremely crazy. And I'm just going to say it like that.
Okay.
Plain talk.
We'll leave it there. I was going to touch on energy, but you kind of talked about that a little bit already. I want to move back a little bit into the budgeting money taxes piece, because in
Mhm,
some of your interviews, you've proposed reducing taxes as part of your platform.
mhm.
So, how do you talked about energy a little bit, but how else do you plan to balance tax cuts with maintaining or even expanding essential county services like public safety and education and understanding the current deficit?
Okay, so there's different buckets that we have to look at in our society.
Okay.
There is the bucket of people leaving, and then us attracting back to our county. So let's just take 10,000 people. We bring 10,000 people here. That's close to $1 billion, you know, that we're losing. Um, when you look at our returning citizens, not all, but a good portion of them want a way forward. And so, what we're putting together is meeting them inside the prison system
Okay.
and getting them certified financial literacy and life skills, and having companies look at them while they're in,
Okay.
and trying to help them get an early release once they have that job.
Wow.
That brings more money to our county. The other bucket is building better. I mean, how are you going to want the county to make more money in taxes and sales and revenue and our businesses, if we're not building in a way that will sponsor that type of explosion? And so, my thing is, if we build better, we will get the revenue that we need. It's just that simple for me. You know, and once we get that right mix happening and people now see us as the best education system, and I believe we can turn the education piece around a lot quicker.
Okay.
You know, don't get me wrong. I mean, some people are like, well, now, wait, how long is this going to take? It's perception and it's a policy, right? So 3 to 6 months, you can turn something around. You know, that's what we talk about in business.
Okay.
So we can turn the education perception around in 3 to 6 months, and we can hold, and that's something else that I would like to do. I want to hold every 3 to 6 months award ceremony where we are showing people who are going into another field through certification education. I really want certification education to be front and center and big, because that's how we grow out of this and people get into better jobs. You know, nothing's going to be handed to you. So, but this is a way that you can get out of your situation, and it doesn't take a year.
Okay. So we're moving quickly here with Mr. Crews. Okay. from the business lens, from the financial lens, from the entrepreneurial lens. One question that I always ask as we prepare to close out the interview is, should you be elected, what do you want your stamp on the county to look like? What would your lasting legacy be?
My lasting legacy would be workforce and economic development. He really turned that around, and our kids, our adults, our returning citizens, they have upward mobility.
That's huge, because that impacts not just the individual, but the family and the collective in total. I understand that, and I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Mr. Crews, you certainly kept us on our toes tonight and presented us with a lot of new, innovative, and creative ideas, specifically from the technology vantage point, which I appreciate. And I'm really excited to see what work you will do in the county. What should you win the seat or not? I do believe that in my conversations with the various candidates, we have brilliant talent here with so much experience across so many different industries, and we need that energy to infiltrate our community no matter what the seat looks like. I'm glad you're doing that right, sir. So how can folks follow you to see what you're doing along your campaign trail leading up to the special election?
Oh, that's a good question. You can go to marcelluscrews.com. That's my website. You can follow me on social media, Marcellus Crews. Go Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. You know, I'm on all platforms, but you know, if you're on Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook, you can go there and follow me, Marcellus Crews.
Fantastic, sir. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for sharing your vision, and best wishes to you in the upcoming election.
Thank you.
Thank you. Until next time, folks, Kayla Evans signing off.
Thank you so much for joining me for another extraordinary conversation today on The Kayla Evans Show. I invite you to stay engaged with me on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Please follow me at The Kayla Evans Show on all social media and podcast platforms. More love, more life, more blessings. Until we meet again.